What's up, YouTube? Oh, I'm so sweaty. I am so hot. We've been out here working in the garden because it's a really nice evening, actually. But pretty much every day we have to work in the garden now. But we wanted to give you guys a good old-fashioned garden update because it's getting towards the middle of June, and we really haven't done one since the middle of May, I believe, was the last one. So we're going to do one right now. Check it out. Look at all this lush greenery. It's actually starting to look like an actual garden. Now, all you're really seeing here are actually flowers. But we just ripped up, de-weeded all these holes here. That's actually a potato plant, and that's a potato plant. But the rest of these are going to be beans. More beans. We like beans. The reason why we're putting beans in here is really just to keep the weeds out for the most part. However, might as well have some extra beans. The next 3 rows are different varieties of flowers. These are some snapdragons that are starting to blossom. I don't remember what everything else is, but
do you remember my flower names?
yeah. This one is yellow flower with brown metal,
Black-eyed Susan.
otherwise known as black-eyed Susan, whatever, whatever you want to call it. This is unknown flower, looks like a weed we have growing over here. So we really didn't need to plant these, we just needed to let our weeds grow and they would turn to flowers. That's kind of a joke, but kind of not, because almost everything that we're growing here I see out in the field. But whatever, this is for cutting and for fun. So here's a bunch of different flowers over here. That is not flowers, that is grass. So my corn over there, you can see it getting a little taller. The grass is getting taller with it. I've been trying to clean this side up here so I can do my second planting. I'm a little bit behind on that. The corn's still growing. It is not my favorite thing to grow. I really don't have a whole lot of success with it. I have a lot of problems, but it is still up and still growing. Over here, we actually have more flowers, but these I know, these are actually just different types of sunflowers, so you can see how big these guys are. We don't have any of the giant ones, but these are all cutting sunflowers, and check that big guy out there. It's going to be opening up here soon, and they're ordered by height, so they get shorter and shorter until these little dwarf ones down here that will be blossoming hopefully soon. Here you can see the work that I've been doing today that's been tearing me up. So we made a mistake in our garden, and we planned for 4-foot wide rows, which is fine, but we only got 4-foot wide weed fabric, thinking, oh, that makes sense. 4-foot wide rows, 4-foot wide weed fabric. Well, that's stupid, because you've got a hill, so there's a little bit of space between each one. It's not perfectly 4 feet, so you start getting these little gaps between. And this grass will grow up and completely over both of those sides, so we've got to rip that out and or just mow this down the middle, but it doesn't stop it from this crabgrass from growing sideways. So we have to go rip that out by hand, and what I'm going to try to do is we're going to try a couple of different things. We're going to try wood chips. So I got a wood chipper. I haven't really, it's a lot of work to get wood chips because you got to cut, tree limbs, but I had to do a lot of work trimming out by the road over here, and so I've got a bunch of piles. We burned some of them, but I got a bunch of piles of tree limbs over there that I can chip up over there. So that's what this is, in an attempt to semi-permanently weed this walkway here by using wood chips. So we're going to try that. We also have some leftover weed fabric. We may just cut in half and just run this down the side. However, we're going to have to make sure the weed fabric goes underneath this on both sides. Otherwise, this is just going to grow out from underneath it. So, royal pain, but this is just part of figuring out how you're going to actually build your garden without any weeds, which is next to impossible. It's actually impossible. Let's just call it what it is. You can see we've picked up a lot of grass and kind of put it down to help knock down some of the growth at least. But let's get back to vegetables here. So these are black-eyed peas or cow peas, or there's all kinds of different names for them, but black-eyed peas. These are our jade bush beans, the same ones that we planted up here in this first row. So we'll have plenty of those. This is our squash row. So we've had some pretty big issues with our squash. Out of, I don't know, 10 plants, I think, 10, 11 plants, we've only got 3 of them left because we've had some sort of squash bug slash just rot at the bottom of the plant. I have not seen any vine borers, worms, or anything like that, so I don't think it's that. We think it could be cucumber beetle spreading their little disease that they do. Not 100% sure, but the only thing we are sure of is that he ran away, but I saw a squash bug down there. We have squash bugs. We knew we were going to have squash bugs, and we still do. But we do have some zucchini on there. We picked a couple, and there's actually a cucumber beetle right there. Sneaky, sneaky. Look at him. Look at that little butt head. Let's see if I can... Nope. Oh. Got you. No. Whatever. But we also have these guys. These are the squash bug eggs that we've got to smush and get off of these leaves before they hatch and become kind of an infestation. Now, in some ways, it's okay for them to hatch. You want to try to get them off as much as you can. But once they hatch, they actually become a lot easier to kill because you can't really kill the eggs necessarily. But once they hit their nymph stage, you can actually kill them. There's that little bugger. Got you. Anyways, we also have our Japanese beetle friends back. Kill those. I'm going to put a trap for the Japanese beetles up over here, and then we're going to catch them and feed them to the chickens. So we got something to do with them this year. But as you notice, all these are gone. These were actually where our yellow squash were, so we had to replant our yellow squash. And they're starting to come up, some of them. But yeah, it's okay. Squash is pretty prolific. It's pretty fast growing, and it produces a bunch. And to be honest, you know, having 3 or 4 plants at a time is perfectly fine. Check out this okra. Okra's starting to look good. It's got some bug damage, but not much. It's going to grow through all that. But we got a lot of okra in this one row. And we're just starting on some of these. This guy looks like it's a different variety than I expected. Starting to get some flowers on that one. Yeah, a couple flowers there. They're gonna open up, and then we'll have okra. So, okra, as we should be calling it. But yeah, so I saved these seeds from last year. So all of these are seeds that I actually got off of my okra from last year. So we'll see what they actually produce. Next thing's next, tomatoes. Tomatoes are growing really well. We pruned them really heavily. That's the video our last video we put out was Amy pruning these really heavily. And so they're trying to catch back up from that pruning. Sometimes it takes a minute for them to say, hey, wait a minute, what's happening? But as you can see, there are little tomatoes all over them. I mean, not a ton, but enough. And that's a decent sized little guy. So these are all paste type tomatoes, so they're meant for sauces and canning and stuff. They're not slicing tomatoes. the ones that are shorter over here, the ones we planted a little bit later, those are going to be your normal kind of slicer tomatoes over here. And so that one needs to be picked up, but the rest of them are growing up pretty straight. They just need to be connected to the trellis so they can keep growing. Yeah, we got some baby tomatoes on there. And I haven't seen any blossom in right yet. So we did fertilize these with something we've not used yet. I don't know what that is, but I don't like it. Looks like waste of something. But let's get down here. I'll show you what we actually use to fertilize them. All right. So this is higher bricks. I don't know. Tomato fertilizer. It says just one application feeds them all season. So we're gonna see. So far, we haven't given them anything else, and they're still growing. So we'll see if we have any calcium issues. Now we have been, thankfully, thank you. We have been getting consistent rain this year, and so I don't think it's going to be a big issue. I think we had some blossom end rot last year, but I think it was an issue with lack of consistent watering, which the issue is that calcium can't get to the plant even if you got it in the soil if there's not enough water to bring it up to the fruit. So that's when you'll get your end rot. So we'll see what happens. But they're looking good. Here's our artichokes plants that I don't know what they're going to do. I've never grown artichoke. We don't even know anything. They just look like weeds, but they sure are growing. Whatever that means. Now peppers, our pepper plants are looking beautiful. Nice dark green colors. They look like they're getting all the nutrients that they need. We actually picked a couple of peppers, but check that guy out. We've already got some peppers over here. I can't remember what varieties we planted where, but we've got several different kinds. Serranos, jalapenos, notapenos, and what was the other one? What was the other pepper?
What did you say so far?
Serrano, notapenos, jalapenos,
Bell
cubanelle,
peppers.
and bell. Oh yeah, bell peppers. Duh. So these guys are looking good. They got a lot of flowers on them, and they're ready to produce. Over here we've got loofah. So few of them didn't survive the transplant. Apparently they're pretty picky, but we need to pick them up and make sure that they get trellised up here, but they've already started to vine out. So we got some loofah this year that hopefully will cover some of this. And here we have our cucumbers. So we do pickling cucumbers. That's really what we do it for. We pickle everything, all of these. But these guys are starting to grow like crazy. Already got some little baby pickles on there. Nothing too big yet that I've seen. But I'm trying to get them to trellis up like that guy. And these. So, a lot of work, but they're going to produce for us as well. Over here, our peas are basically done. You can see they're starting to be yellow. I'm not even going to worry about going over there, but we're going to actually plant more cucumbers over here, this whole row. Actually, I will show you one thing. That's our volunteer watermelon. So over here in the corn plot, last year this was our melon plot, but right here, for some reason on this side, we didn't get any melons last year because they all died, but I guess one melon was good enough that through fire and no rain and last season it rotted, and then I guess through tilling I spread the seed along this way because there is volunteers all the way up through here. So we got some volunteer watermelons right here from last year. I think some of these are Moon and Stars varieties like that one is, and then these other ones are different ones. So we don't really know what we're going to get, but we'll see. However, if these don't get us anything, this whole plot here will something, hopefully. Now we've had We've had to replant a few of them because they didn't make it. That's fine. It's going to happen. But we've got different types of watermelon in these 3 rows, and then we've got pumpkins in those 4 rows there, or I think 3 rows, and then we have winter squash down at the end, I think is what it is. So hopefully these pumpkin plants look pretty good. We had some planted in here. We just didn't have a very good time with them. The same issue we've had with our squash we've had over here, and cucumber beetles will get on anything basically that vines like this, and squash bugs will even come over here. They're not supposed to, but I've seen squash bugs on this stuff, so it is possible that they will come over here and do some damage. But we've got the numbers on our side, so there's a bunch of them. So some of these are going to make it, and we've planted enough to where we've got more than what we need for sure. And you come here and pick out some weeds in there. Over here, our potatoes still growing, just doing just fine. No big issues. We had some bugs, but we got rid of all the bugs, it seems. And we've got a little bit of, like, some little stuff here where that plant looks like it's got something wrong with it. I don't really know what happened to it. It doesn't really matter. It's fine. Most of them are good. We probably have on some varieties, we got to go look, but maybe only 2 more weeks or so, maybe 3 weeks before we're ready to actually pick some potatoes, some of our early harvest potatoes. So that'll be pretty cool. We did harvest a ton of broccoli. We got 12 pounds, a little over 12 pounds of broccoli. We left stuff here, and we're just kind of letting it grow. This is kind of an experiment for us because it's our first year growing this. So some of it we just let stay just to see what will happen. Now, my fear is that we're actually just creating a bug problem, but that's okay. We're going to spray and kill everything we can here. Our cabbage starting to head up, look pretty good. Had some early worm damage and stuff, but it seems fine now. We have some kohlrabi that we picked kind of through here. Some of it just kind of shot up and didn't actually produce any kohlrabi, but here's one that's actually formed. We got some turnips over here, carrots which have been thinned out, so these should be pretty good carrots. We got some smaller ones, some beets that are getting pretty big, and then there's some lettuces and stuff that all our lettuces have long since bolted. So except for these guys here look pretty good. We could probably harvest a couple of those. And our kale, we could probably even pull some kale out of there. We did clean up our onion bed a little bit and till down there. I got to do it 1 or 2 more times, and we're probably going to put some beans or something else over here just as a kind of a cover crop, because we really don't know what we want to put in here. This soil here has no amendments in it. We did this stuff last year. We didn't really put any amendments into it. We just took the raw soil and tilled it up. So it's the hardest, worst soil that we can plant in this entire garden. We'll fix that next year. But for this year, it's just kind of growing our onions, somewhat grass mostly, and we've got some celery down there as well. So, things are iffy, but this is a garden. So, Amy's watering stuff manually with a leaky waterer. We got our marigolds that haven't marigolded yet.
They're working on it.
They are working on it. They're everywhere. But what do you have to say to the people?
Don't give up. Just keep going. I feel like this spring flush of weeds we knew it was coming, and it also caught us off guard at the same time. But I think that was just life events colliding with the spring flush of weeds and having to be away from the garden more than we wanted to. But every day we're getting in here, we're waiting until the evenings when it's cool, and we're just doing what we can. So just don't give up. So we're finally getting to the point where we can start to harvest things, and we're starting to see growth from the things that we actually planted that aren't just weeds. So it's encouraging, but it's also getting really hot, and the weeds just aren't stopping yet. So, did you ask me a question? I just kept talking.
No, you're fine. That was
how
what I
feel
asked
now.
you.
I'm like, ah.
She's delirious.
What do you
It's
have to
fine.
say?
She doesn't know anything but water and weed. Water and weed. Water and weed. That's what we do. I mean, I will say though, the only reason really she's watering things manually instead of us putting on our drip tape too is because a lot of the stuff we just planted, and so drip tape doesn't do very great for watering in brand new seeds. I mean, it can, but when you plant something brand new, it's probably best just to go ahead and water it in manually, just because drip tape kind of soaks into the soil. You want to get that top layer of soil pretty wet for new seeds. So that's what we're doing. So you said we can't quit?
I mean, we can quit tonight. We can't quit forever.
I think that's what we're going to do.
It's about quitting time.
I think it's pretty close too.
The sun tells us when it's quitting time.
Yeah, we still got light, but I'm tired. I've tore myself up trying to pull my grip strength. It's good, but it's wore out now. But yeah, we appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out with us and spending some time here. And as we get to actually seeing some production here, it'll be fun to show you guys what we actually get. We've pulled a few things, but nothing major. You know, we're waiting for that grand potato pull. That's going to be so awesome. But I think our beans are going to be next, because the beans are already started. They've got a ton of flowers on them, and they've already got some baby beans, so they'll be very quickly ready to start being processed. I'm just cutting them off, the first ones.
So you're supposed to cut snapdragons when the first ones start to open.
Huh. Cool.
And then strip off the extra. There we go, little baby snapdragon.
There it is.
So I'm gonna get 2 out of this plot.
Yeah, we'll get 2. We'll get 2 snapdragons.
That's 2 more than I had last
What are
year.
these?
These are cosmos.
Okay.
Cosmos and bachelor buttons.
Yeah, those definitely growing weeds in the field. Yep. Most definitely. So we go over here and we get all these flowers, and we spend so much time to get certain flowers in our garden. And we really spend a lot of effort putting weed fabric down, fertilizing, all these things to get these really nice flowers in our garden. And then over here, we got a pile of rocks with, what do you see? Perfectly growing flowers. The same ones we have. They're a little different variety, but look how many of them there are. We didn't need to do any of that. We could have just let the field go to grass. But look at all these little flowers over here. It's wonderful. You just need a pile of rocks.
You know why they call them snapdragons?
No.
All right, getting close. You got it?
Go ahead.
All right, this is why they call them snapdragons. Isn't that cool?
Huh.
I'll do that.
That's pretty neat. Huh. I did not know that.
Learn something new every day. Make a flower farmer out of you.
I'm good. We all have our roles.
Trophy husband.
Yeah. Good night.
Night.
Danny and Amy, Homestead DNA. Like and subscribe. Share this video if you found it entertaining and think somebody else might. And we'll see you guys on the other side.
Have a good one.